Welcome back, everybody. This week I'm preparing a white chocolate raspberry cheesecake that's completely vegan free wall, made in the slow cooker. The crust is going to be an Oreo crust made of Oreo cookies, a banana, and some arrowroot powder to help it combine, which will all come together in the food processor. For the filling of our cheesecake, no surprise, we're going to be using cashews and dates, in addition to some melted cacao butter. Cacao butter is the fat in chocolate. It's literally cacao fat with the chocolate taken out of it. It's what white chocolate is made out of, but to make it completely dairy-free, we're just using cacao butter, and normal chocolate it's blended with other milk and dairy products. Here we will be just using the fat. It will impart the white chocolate flavor to our cheesecake. Next, we will add all of our liquid ingredients, which I will explain once everything starts to come together. So without further ado, let's get to the recipe.
So in your food processor, add 18 Oreo cookies. I chose to use double stuffed, a 1/4 cup of arrowroot powder, and 1 banana, using the S blade of your blender. Blend until really nice and smooth and a dough starts to form.
So that bit of the recipe comes together really quickly. All you need to do is put everything into a food processor and blend until the Oreo cookies are really tiny small bits and it starts to form a cohesive dough. For the filling, we're gonna make everything in the Vitamix. So let's get to that step. So before we start blending everything in the Vitamix, the explanation of the wet ingredients are right here. So we're gonna be using 4 ounces of store-bought vegan cream cheese. I love Kite Hill. I'm gonna leave the brand in the description. The company uses really clean ingredients, but it's also not extremely expensive. That's the one I kind of go to, and it's also very readily available. We're adding lots of lemon juice, some vegan yogurt, sweetened or unsweetened is fine, whatever you prefer, vanilla extract, in addition to maple syrup. We're having dates be our main sweetener, but a little bit of maple syrup goes a long way, some monk fruit sweetener, and also some arrowroot powder to help everything combine. Arrowroot powder is the best. I love it, and it helps congeal everything in the cheesecake when it cooks in the slow cooker. And then we're adding a teaspoon of baking powder because if you've seen my previous videos, you know that the cheesecake don't contain any eggs because they're vegan. So this baking powder helps the filling rise a little bit. So we add a little bit of baking powder for those reasons.
The beauty is in the simplicity of how this filling is made. You want to pit all of your dates, making sure that they do not have any inside. Add your cashews, the dates, and the long list of ingredients that's featured here on the screen to your Vitamix. If you have never used melted cacao butter before, I will leave cacao butter linked in the description, and you will want to gently melt it in the microwave before adding it to your filling. Blend until completely smooth.
And for our raspberry addition, I'm using store-bought raspberry preserves. I prefer preserves over jam because it contains the real fruit, and I like to get one that just is made with cane sugar, not any high fructose corn syrup. I don't want that in my dessert. I'll accept the sugar. So I get a raspberry preserve of my choosing. It's typically the cleanest and the cheapest I can find. I like to go with the Private Selection brand from Ralph's.
Now, using your favorite cheesecake mold, you want to unhinge it, and then on the bottom layer, add a little bit of parchment paper to help everything not stick to the bottom and easy release. You want to grease the bottom and the sides of your cheesecake mold really heavily and nicely. And with wet hands, add your crust to the bottom of your cheesecake mold, and then with your fingers, very gently tap to make it as flat as possible on the bottom, and then helping it form a crust on the outer edge of the mold. Add your filling from the Vitamix straight to the cheesecake mold, and with a spatula, even it out so that everything is really nice and even in the cheesecake mold. Now add your raspberry jam by the spoonful. It doesn't have to look pretty at this stage. And then with a toothpick, swirl it to make a lovely swirled design on top. This is one of my favorite things to do, and it also makes the cheesecake look really pretty, especially if you're going to serve this at a holiday party. In a large crock pot, add 2 cups of water to the insert and some ramekins or glass, but I recommend ramekins because they're of a thicker material, to the bottom face down, creating a stand for the cheesecake. I like to cover my cheesecake on the bottom with aluminum foil to prevent too much water getting into the bottom and disrupting the cooking time, and then I gently place it in my slow cooker and lock it with a lid.
All right, so that'll cook on low for 2 hours, and then we will immediately take it out, let it cool for about 15 minutes in the slow cooker, and then we will let it rest in the fridge overnight where it will set completely.
Once your cheesecake is done baking, make sure to take the lid off and there will be a little bit of moisture on top of your cheesecake. Don't let this bother you. It will eventually all evaporate. It's because of the condensation of cooking within a slow cooker. Be careful when you release your cheesecake and make sure it's rested for about 15 minutes at room temperature as well as in the pan, and carefully slice into it. Be sure to let your cheesecake rest overnight for the most intact cheesecake. I really hope you enjoy this one. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for a full recipe next Saturday. Ciao!